Hey YouTube, welcome back to Everyday Journey. I got myself into a little bit of a problem here. Sitting here using my grinder and it seemed to work fine, but whenever I got done, it wouldn't come out of the actual extension cord here. Partly because I probably shouldn't have been using an extension cord. Only way I was able to get this plug out of here was actually just pull until it actually pulled the connectors out of my cord for my grinder. And then of course it stayed in this because it kind of welded itself into it. So we're going to quickly show you how to fix this. For those who already know how to do it, sorry you have to sit through this. But this is more for those who don't. That way they can actually fix this on their own without having to go buy a new extension cord, without having to buy a new grinder or whatever it is they had plugged into it. So, alright, so things you're going to need. You're going to need to get you male and female connectors. These aren't that much, but they cost me $5-6 for both of them. You will need a flathead screwdriver. You probably will want to go ahead and get a Phillips screwdriver as well, which you can use for most of it, but you'll probably want to tighten things down with the flathead. Then you're going to want to get you a knife, and you don't have to use it, but it'd be better to get you a pair of wire strippers. Before you go messing with this thing, make sure you got it unplugged from the wall. You do not want to cut through this with it plugged in. Guarantee it. First thing we're going to want to do is go ahead and cut off the end of your extension cord. And then we're going to go ahead and expose our wires here. You can use your knife for that. Cut a little bit of the sheathing away. Good rule of thumb, go ahead and cut more than what you need back, because you can always just trim off the wires a little bit. So now you see we got our 3 wires. We got our hot, our neutral, and our ground. So in this case we want to use the female connector, and this is why I said Phillips is probably better, at least for most of it, because flathead is just keeps slipping. So it'll get it nice and tight, but it keeps slipping. So now we want to go ahead and loosen up. This right here will hold our wire inside the connector. Loosen that as much as we need to, and then we go ahead and poke our wires down through. Now you didn't have to strip them yet. You could have put them through here first, but put it through there, and now we want to actually make our connections. So we loosen up these. It's not going to matter too much which ones you put on here, except for the ground will matter definitely, but you do want to try to put normally the hot would go on the gold, so that would be your black wire here. So we're going to want to strip off enough of the wire so that we can wrap it all the way around the post of that screw. And go ahead and strip them all the same if you can. Now we want to go ahead and connect our hot. We're going to twist the wires together, make sure that they stay nice and tight. And this one actually we don't have to go over the posts. It actually has a plate that tightens down onto the wire, so we'll actually just put it behind the plate, and I'll show you after I tighten it up because I need it to be facing down. And as you can see here, the wire is stripped just about right. You don't want to have any of the wire showing, but you want to make sure that all of the wire, none of the sheath is underneath that plate. So here's where we tighten it down using the Phillips, and then go ahead and do the same thing make sure it's nice and tight with our flathead. So as you can see, right there, none of the sheath is underneath that plate and all of the wire is under the plate. So now there's very little chance that it's going to short circuit. You want to make sure and wiggle and kind of pull the wire, make sure it's not coming out of there. So now we're going to do the same thing with our neutral wire on this other side and with our ground. And how you can always tell which one's the ground is going to be the one that goes to the bottom prong. Alright, so now our wires are connected. Next thing we want to do is go ahead and put our cover on. Make sure we line up everything so that it actually screws into place like it should. Alright, now that's nice and tight. When we look here, we got this much of the wire still sticking out. That's okay, we can kind of push that in there. If you had much more than that, you'd probably want to go ahead and shorten your wires. But right now, we're going to just push the excess in. And if you have to, I think I'm about to do it, you can take this strain relief off real quick. That way you can wrap your wires in there a little better. What you want to make sure though, is before it's all said and done, that the wire sheath is actually inside this, so that if you tighten this down, that's what it's tightening down onto. Now you don't want to get it too tight that it smashes the wires together, possibly cause them to short. But you want to make sure that it's tight enough that that wire is not coming out. And just like the rest of the wires, go ahead and pull on it to check it out. So now we've got a new end on our extension cord. This is going to be the exact same process though with the grinder, except for while we're hooking this up, we're not going to hook anything to the ground. Because in this case with the grinder, there are only two prongs, and that's just your hot and your neutral. You don't need one for the ground. This doesn't have a ground, so whenever you're making this connection, just make sure that you plug your wire only to these two prongs. The fact that it actually has a ground there isn't going to matter because it's not going to be connected to anything. Just make sure that your wires inside this, whenever you connect everything, are not touching the ground. That way they will not ground whenever you plug it in. So other than that, we're good to go. Alright, moment of truth. Now everything's hooked up. I've already plugged this in to the wall. And now we're going to go ahead and plug in our power tools. This one's a little bit tight. There it goes. Which is a good thing, because that's probably what the problem was with the last one. It kind of made it's kind of a loose connection, so there was some arcing going on and it just welded itself together. This is nice and tight. Won't even have to tie that one in a knot. So safety glasses, see if it works. Alright, so we're good to go. Now I don't have to throw away an extension cord, and I also don't have to throw away my grinder. Hopefully both will give me plenty more years of usage. So if you like this, definitely give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification thing, do all that stuff please. Like I said, I tried to keep it short, but I wanted to cover everything there. That way anybody who hasn't done this and could actually do this without any problems whatsoever. So if you like these kind of videos, leave me a comment. If you get questions about anything or questions about any of my other videos, leave me a comment. I like to read them, like to respond to them. Just try to keep it clean. All right, well, that's all I got for now. Till next time, y'all take care.